We have made clear that the allegations are extremely serious and they need to be taken seriously, and we wanted to see the government of India cooperate with Canada in its investigation.
I know you put out the statement yesterday about the Indian Inquiry Commission having a representative coming here. It was exactly at the same time, basically, that you put this out that that the allegations came in Canada. Do you have any do you have any general thoughts on India-Canada round two about what's taking place?
First of all, I'd say that the timing of those was completely coincidental. When it comes to the Canadian matter, we have made clear that the allegations are extremely serious and they need to be taken seriously, and we wanted to see the government of India cooperate with Canada in its investigation. Obviously, they have not chosen that path.
You say the allegations extremely serious. You mean the long-standing ones?
Canada, yeah.
The long-standing ones.
Yes,
I mean.
yes, correct.
So in terms of how India reacted overnight, or how they reacted yesterday to this, how do you feel about that, the withdrawal of, obviously Canada was kicked out, but how do you feel about how India is responding?
I don't have any comment on that, but as we've said before, they're serious allegations, and we have wanted to see India take them seriously and cooperate with Canada's investigation. They have chosen an alternate path.
An alternate path. How does that color perceptions of dealing with India?
I don't have any further assessment on it.
What can you say about the meeting?
So I don't have a readout on the meeting yet. The meeting was here as a follow-up on conversations we have been having with the government of India at the senior-most levels over the past several months. They have told us that they are taking the allegations seriously, that the activities contained in the DOJ indictment do not represent government policy. So the meeting that happened this week, or that was happening today by India's inquiry, was to discuss their active investigation into the matter, for us to update them on our active investigation into the matter, and to continue to share sides about steps that could happen in the days and weeks to come.
All right, and I know you said this, but it's very hard to believe that the timing of your statement was purely coincidental on a day when there's massive events going on between
I fully understand.
And
I will just tell you that we were planning this. The meeting was planned, and so the statement announcing the meeting was planned early last week, maybe end of the week before, well before we were aware of the actions that Canada was going to take over the past few days. So it is completely coincidental.
On India, what makes you believe, when you arrived at a conclusion that India is not cooperating with the Canadians on the investigations?
So I don't have any further comment on that beyond what the two countries have said publicly. We have urged them to cooperate, and will continue to urge them to
India is saying they have not received any evidence from the Canadians.
And I will defer to those two countries to speak to the relevant status of the matter.
Prime Minister Trudeau yesterday said that he has shared with the Americans, U.S. government, their evidence of their Indians' involvement. Have you seen those? What's your thought?
I'm not going to speak publicly to those private conversations.
One more question. The last 24 hours, several Air India flights have received threats, bomb threats, and several of them have been grounded. One of the flights from Mumbai to Chicago had an emergency landing somewhere in Canada. So, fighter jets were scrambled in Singapore for the flights. This comes after months of threats coming from several citizens in the U.S. that blew up the Air India plane coming from the U.S. and Canadian soil. How do you see that?
Obviously,
would you be taking action against those individuals who have been threatening for blowing up Air India planes?
So obviously, any kind of threats against commercial aviation are inappropriate and matters that are dealt with extremely seriously by our own law enforcement agencies, and I would refer to those law enforcement agencies.
Will you take steps that such threat doesn't come from the U.S.?
Again, I will. I think it's a matter for law enforcement agencies, predominantly the Department of Justice, to speak to as a first instance.
How these investigations are going to impact India-U.S. relationship?
Which investigations?
The one that has come today.
The U.S., I didn't know if you were referring to these other questions or to the first one. So look, India continues to be an incredibly strong partner of the United States. We work with them on a number of matters, including our shared vision for a free, open, prosperous Indo-Pacific. And when we have concerns, we have the kind of relationship where we can take those concerns to them and have very frank, candid conversations about those concerns, and that's what we've been doing.
And one final question. Is India cooperating with the U.S. in parts of investigation?
So I'm not going to speak to the matter publicly. That's a question that, again, when it comes to the investigation itself, ought to be handled by law enforcement, so I'd refer you to the Department of Justice.